Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new legal breaking reporting video analysis update. We are getting reports from the NPR that the Trump regime, because they're currently not acting like an administration should, I'm calling them the Trump regime, has fired more than, I think, 20 immigration judges. Let's get into this new reporting. Ladies and gentlemen, the article is titled Trump Regime. Notice how I placed regime because, again, they're not currently acting like an administration should. Continuing with the heading. Fires more immigration judges. Ladies and gentlemen, and the article reads, nearly 20 immigration judges received emails this month informing them that they are being let go. NPR has learned, adding to the over 80 judges that have already been cut by the wannabe dictator. Notice how I replaced president with wannabe dictator, because Trump is not currently acting like a president should. So far this year, at least 14 immigration judges learned last Friday that they would be put on leave and that their employment would terminate as soon as Wednesday. In some cases, according to two people familiar with the firings and a confirmation from the International Federation of Professional and Technical Engineers, IFPTE, a union that represents immigration judges. The two people spoke on condition of anonymity for fear of reprisals. Courts in Florida, Maryland, New York, California, and Washington state are among those affected. Confusion and explosive anger and waiting. NPR spent a day in Washington. Ladies and gentlemen, in New York Immigration Court. The move follows the firing of 5 other immigration judges earlier this month. The firings in September constitute the largest terminations in any month since 24 immigration judges were fired in February, right before their first day on the job. The firings are seemingly at odds with the Trump regime's goals of immigration enforcement. Advocates say the regime counters the immigration judges have not managed their mounting caseloads effectively, and that it has taken steps to streamline the process involved in adjudicating cases. The dispute provides a window into just how complicated the Trump regime's efforts to lower illegal immigration and deport millions of undocumented people are. Union leaders had been bracing for large cuts this month since it marked the end of the 2-year probation period for many immigration judges. The increased firings come as the Trump regime is trying to increase the number of deportations. Immigration judges are more like civil servants, can approve or deny a final order of deportation. Still, immigration advocates argue the high priority on immigration law enforcement is reducing the limited due process that immigrants receive because the dismissed judges are either replaced with ladies and gentlemen, adjudicators with no experience or are not replaced at all. The dismissal of more immigration judges is an illegal, illogical, and costly setback for the nation's immigration courts. IFPTE President Matt Biggs said in a statement to NPR, my editorial edition, at a time when the backlog has reached historic levels and the regime has made immigration enforcement a central issue, the removal of experienced judges is hypothetical, undermines the law, and wastes taxpayer dollars and further delays justice for citizens and immigrants alike. Not all judges to be dismissed this year have been at the end of their probationary period with the Executive Office for Immigration Review, EOIR, which is part of the U.S. Department of Justice. Still, my editorial note, ladies and gentlemen, the firings have resulted in a culture of fear among EOIR employees. Dozens took the fork in the road, a voluntary resignation program introduced after wannabe dictator Trump took office amid at reducing the size of the federal workforce. EOIR declined to comment. In the past 9 months, EOIR has lost more than 125 judges to firings and voluntary resignations, down from about 700 judges at the start of the year. The loss of judges has resulted in immigration cases being delayed as far out as 2029, NPR previously reported, as vacancies increased despite job opening postings. My editorial's note, ladies and gentlemen. To fill the roles in those courts. Inside one of the most understaffed immigration courts in the country, terminations continue amidst growing backlogs. The latest sets of terminations landed after Congress approved a mega spending bill that allocated over $3 billion to the Justice Department for immigration-related activities, including hearings. Ladies and gentlemen, hirings. More immigration judges. The funding and additional personnel are aimed at alleviating the growing cases of backlog, which stands at nearly 4 million. Hiring and new training judges. Ladies and gentlemen, training new judges can take more than a year. In recent months, EOIR leadership has criticized judges for not effectively managing their caseloads and has encouraged adjudicators to streamline asylum reviews and give oral as opposed to written decisions on case dismissals. Ladies and gentlemen, military lawyers called up to relieve a shortfall in immigration judges. Earlier this month, about 600 military lawyers were authorized to work for the Justice Department as temporary immigration judges, and the DOJ made changes to who could qualify as a temporary immigration judge. Judge. Effectively lowering the requirements and removing the need to have prior immigration experience.